Stu, I didn't know you were coming over.
I'm not Stu.
Before Spongebob, there was Nickelodeon's #1 cartoon, the Rugrats. It was a simple idea. What if babies could talk? How do they see the world? What's their perspective? What are their political views? Do they agree we should drop the nuke on Latveria? As part of the Patreon review raffle, Kyle Ruhi has chosen for me to review the Rugrats. I'll mainly focus on the TV series since Rugrats has a ton of history. Can you remember when this was up there with The Simpsons and Pokemon in popularity? Well, maybe not as big as those, but still huge. All from a simple concept: babies fumbling around, interacting with stuff they don't understand.
I don't know, Tommy. I don't think this is such a good idea. Oh, come on. Don't be a baby.
It borders on being a silent cartoon, letting the visuals capture their crudely animated wonder. The head baby in charge is Tommy Pickles, up for any adventure with his chronic screwdriver.
Tommy, don't!
His best friend Chucky Finster, the coward. Phil and Lil DeVille are the bickering comic relief twins.
I think they made it. They're not. They're two. They're not. They're two.
Sometimes their neighbor joined in, Susie. I don't think she ever did anything, but their main antagonist was Tommy's cousin and the oldest at age 3, Angelica. From the start, co-creator of Rugrats, Arlene Klasky, hated her.
What's the slumber party? That's a really dumb question that only a baby sucker would ask.
Angelica was a spoiled asshole who would always find a way to either bully and or scare the Rugrats with misinformation. Like when she told Chucky a watermelon seed he swallowed will grow and he's gonna die if they don't get it out. So how do they get it out? Imagination. Yeah, that's right, you piece of cheese. Imagination. They pretend they're taking a fantastic voyage into Chucky's body. The imagination part has no magical effect on their reality, so it's like, what the fuck are you even doing? They're really just playing make-believe in their room. What if you get shot and instead of calling 911, your friend would like pretend, no wait, I'm Neo and you can pull the bullet by jacking into the Matrix. I can do this, pull the bullet from the wound. It's like Matrix Reloaded or one of the sequels, you know, that one.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
Because I've lost control of my life.
Rugrats had a premise the writers could get a lot of mileage out of. There's 2 types of episodes. Ones where the Rugrats are exploring, and ones where they're exploring but they're using their imagination to spice it up. Like to them, it's not just some garage, it's the surface of the moon or some shit.
Well, they're pretending they're all pioneers in a covered wagon. It's just adorable. I wish I had the video camera right now.
Sometimes the fantasy can get a little too surreal. I don't know what it is, but Nickelodeon cartoons were always terrifying. It makes sense. They're babies and new things can seem horrifying at first. Like nightmares, what's under the bed, using the potty, the guy on the oatmeal box, or the threat of a new sibling being the favorite. You know the episode I'm talking about.
I warned you to get out, but you wouldn't listen. Now I'm gonna have to teach you a lesson.
If this came out now, everyone online would hate the sloppy art style. It's expected from animation studio Klasky Chupo. Rugrats creators / married couple Arlene Klasky and Garbo Chupo style defined cartoons in the 90s and early 2000s. All Real Monsters, Duckman, the first 3 seasons of The Simpsons, Rocket Power, Wild Thornberries, As Told by Ginger, and its unsuccessful follow-up, Bitch Got Told by Ginger.
Oh, snap.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the Rugrats could converse with other babies, but not adults. Although 3-year-old Angelica could talk with both babies and adults. 3-year-olds are the bisexuals of communication.
There's nothing, you baby.
heard the whole thing, Angelica.
Yeah, Rugrats was about the newborns, but separating itself from Thomas Jerry or Charlie Peanuts was the adults were actual characters with their own issues to worry about. They could have easily have been written as nobodies whose faces are never shown, while we focus on the toddlers all the time. But we got to know the grown-ups just as much as the babies. Though I think Tommy's grandpa, from his father's side, Lou Pickles, was everyone's favorite. He was always too good for this shit.
It's too late for me.
It's too late for me, too. I'm gonna get some candy. I'd rather rot my teeth than sit here and rot my brain.
Every single thing Grandpa did in his early years took at least 15 miles of traveling.
In the old days, wagon trains 15 miles long. Of course, in those days, it was 15 miles to the next house.
How many miles, Pop?
15 miles to school, for your information, in the snow.
That sounds like a bunch of bullshit and lies. So here's my fan theory. Grandpa Lou lived in the exact center of a crater 30 miles wide, surrounded by all the locations he requires getting to. I don't see any other possibilities, so confirmed. That's the only fan theory that's canon. Please stop making Rugrats theory videos.
I never suspected you'd be capable of stealing.
Betty, a thief? That's an absurd proposition!
You're an absurd proposition! I've had enough of this stupid...
Aren't they ever gonna stop being mad?
We've all thought it, but these are the most neglectful parents ever. The premise of every episode were the babies sneaking out of what should be child-proof containment and wandering around with the possibility of being killed by a goose, a furious dog, an Italian mob boss, or a garbage chute with a human skeleton at the bottom. That always concerned me. There is an episode where Tommy just walks out the front door ajar and is snatched up with criminals thinking he's the baby to some millionaire, so the crooks leave a ransom note.
Quick, the ransom note! Dear Ronald Thump.
Aw, seriously? Even stupider, the grandpa finds the ransom and can't even read it through his dirty glasses. Tommy is only able to escape because the kidnappers get fed up with his bullshit making, so they return Tommy to his parents with them having no idea what happened as the criminals nearly escape to purge another day.
I hate when this happens.
There was also this one episode where Tommy and Chucky secretly stay in a toy store that for reasons unknown had a fully functional time machine that anyone could just trip and fall into with no way of returning to the present. Nobody gets sent back, of course, besides this robot monkey being sold at the toy store.
Gorg, what eat?
So now, because somebody put an unguarded time machine in the middle of the toy store, the American Revolution is fucked. Speaking of machinery, Tommy's dad, Stu Pickles, is a toy maker. One of his inventions was Mr. Friend, a robot clown that cannot be stopped. Stu thinks it's a good idea to build an army of them that seek to terrorize the Rugrats. The episode concludes in the most brutal robot destruction since R2-D2 fell down a flight of stairs. I can't forget to also mention the music, conducted by frontman for the band Devo, Mark Smothersbaugh. He was also the inspiration for Chucky's hair. Mark composed for a ton of films and TV shows and video games and films and TV shows and video games and films and TV shows and films. I feel Rugrats' background score has to be one of the most distinctive that I can't really compare to anything else. The music isn't available anywhere, so for this video, I salvaged some from the show's end credits and video games. Those songs are good and all, but nothing can top the Rugrats rap Nickelodeon played during commercials.
It's a rug rat from under the back. It's a rug rat. It's a rug rat rat. These are the kids that are bringing in a new style. Out of the crib with a bib just to make it smile.
It was the 90s. This was acceptable behavior.
Aren't you glad? You watching? You watching? You watching Nick? Aren't you glad? You watching? You watching? You watching Nick?
It was the 90s, this was acceptable behavior, but this cartoon isn't all stupid surrealness. Because Tommy's half Jewish from his mother's side, Rugrats was one of the few to produce specials about Passover and Hanukkah.
Harmonica? Hanukkah! You have to when you say it.
I think for any outsider, this was a lot of people's first understanding of someone else's religion. That's the media we underestimate. I learned about Adam and Eve and David and Goliath from The Simpsons before my Sunday school taught it. Hey, did you know during the fantasy sequence in the Rugrats, we see a building with some Hebrew text on it? I'm not lying when I say that text translates out to the word circumciser. And apparently, it's at cut-rate prices. How many other animated specials ever touched on Judaism? Like 3 of them, and one of them had Adam Sandler. You would think there'd be more animated specials of Jewish faith. I mean, isn't Hollywood run by a bunch of greedy executives that want to tap into each demographic? Rugrats actually got into a bit of controversy with the Anti-Defamation League. They criticized Tommy's grandpa, Boris, stating his design resembled, quote, Nazi-era depictions of Jewish people. Hey, there's this. Thanks to the neighbor girl Susie, we got a Kwanzaa special on season 7. You waited until season 7 to make a Kwanzaa special?
Oh man, just what I'm talking about. It's turning the deal and shit. I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, Rugrats ran itself into the ground harder than Hindenburg. It got 172 half-hour episodes, 3 theatrical films, and 2 spin-offs. Most of this video you're watching only covers the first 3 out of the 9 seasons. Rugrats ran for so long from 1991 through 2003, we saw the transition from hand-painted cell animation to drawing still done on paper, but colored on computer.
Lines became smoother for certain. I mean, as we moved in into digital animation as well, the lines are darker, are thicker, and there's more of a roundness.
It may look more on model, but I'm like one of those vinyl record collectors who loves the dirty imperfection of pre-2000s cell animation. Me and so many others collect animation cells, but that aspect of production is almost not practiced anymore. One day I gotta return to cover the rest of the franchise, but if there's anything to take from the Rugrats, is this was just mundane things shown through the perspective of babies. It's not a fish out of water story, it's a fish barely getting into water story. Or something.
This Thanksgiving weekend, you can watch their cartoons, or you can watch Nicktoons. All weekend long, new Nicktoon episodes, new Nicktoon music videos, plus the chance to see your very own Nicktoon drawing. So tune out Ordinary Toon and tune in to Non-Stop Nicktoon Weekend. Next Friday at 12:11 Central, only on Nick.